What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, he's the leader of the pack. It's Desra.
Vroom vroom.
So unenthusiastic about being the leader of the pack.
I met him at the candy store.
It's your turn to introduce me.
And of course, this is Brian Paul.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PlayStation VR back catalog. We pick out a game at random, we discuss it probably longer than we should, and tell you whether it's worth checking out again. You know, some of these games are better because they've been patched to death. And some of them feel very, very first gen.
Some of them age like a fine wine, or some of them don't.
Yeah. Or like a woman.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
Nope. All right. Des, what game did we decide to talk about this week?
Today we are talking about the Brookhaven experiment.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
That was a great launch game.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
End of episode. Roll credits.
Brookhaven Experiment came out on launch day.
Yes, it was a launch title.
Can I just say something about launch titles?
Yes.
I love launch titles. I feel like you know, there's all these Johnny-come-latelys that try to be like, hey, Crystal Rift, hey, here we are. I know you've been around a month waiting for us, but hey, here's our game now.
Yeah.
But there's Brookhaven Experiment, like waiting for us at the door, being like, come on in, have a cup of coffee.
We're ready.
Here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got our shit done on time.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. But it's by Phosphorus Games. I don't know if you know anything about them.
I know about Phosphorus, but not Phosphorus Games, no.
No, well, there's a good reason, because Phosphorus Games, I checked out their website.
Mm-hmm.
They make a lot of mobile games.
Okay.
And they've got some VR applications out there, too, and, like, other stuff coming. But, like, not a whole lot of, like, games. I think this was a pretty big deal for them, and obviously for us.
Yeah, for a developer that's doesn't really make VR games, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think they've got quite a few, like I said, VR applications out there, so they probably have experience with the medium.
Is that like 3D Excel? It's like spreadsheets.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like some...
Oh, I just made myself a nightmare there. Oh,
yeah, that sounds horrible. But this was $20 at launch.
Okay.
On good old October 13th, 2016.
Those were the days.
I mean, it was like one of my favorite days ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when there was still hope for the future.
There is still hope, however.
There's always hope.
That we are here, instilling hope in all of you. Can you tell me something about... No, not me. I'm just going to sit here and drink coffee. Can you tell me anything about Brookhaven? What kind of game is it? For people who've never even heard of it before, for some people who've just bought their PlayStation VR, and they see it on the store when they scroll by, but they haven't actually checked it out. What kind of game is it?
Well, it is what's becoming pretty common in the VR world, and it's a wave shooter. But it also has some, I guess we could call it survival horror elements. Although we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, it's basically you're in the remnants of Brookhaven Labs, which is actually a real place. And some weird interdimensional rift has opened up, and monsters from the other side of the rift have already, like past tense, overtaken the whole world. Yeah. Like you are in the last stages of global apocalypse. And you're basically trying to figure out, can we shut this portal down and stop everything from happening? As I said to Brian before we stopped recording this, I really, really liked this plot when it was called Half-Life. So there's kind of that. So story-wise, nothing particularly original or new here. And I try to be super positive, but the voice acting...
Yeah?
She could have... So you give me crap for not being super excited sometimes?
Yeah.
She could have definitely, maybe tried breathing every once in a while, or coffee. So yeah, she's very laid back. She's very laid back. The story is told to you through like basically a headset. Right. Like it's a one-way communication stream. She's telling you what to do and giving you like little bits of backstory the whole time. And we never knew what would happen when we opened the portal. Yeah, and that's kind of it. She's like, but to me it worked because it's told in like little bite-sized pieces. Sure. Right? It's like you don't need this humongous story, like this real detailed story for a wave shooter. No, you just need any excuse to be there, and there you go. Yeah, and they give us like the smallest excuse ever, right? Like zombies and monsters have taken over the world because we opened the portal. Oops, our bad. And go. But she sounds so
hopeless. Like she's sending you on these missions to go take care of these things, but there's not even an inkling of like hope in her voice. Like it's like she's done this 50 times before. She sent out 50 people before you, and all of them have died on the first level.
I guess I could. I mean, when you say it like that, I guess I can hear that. But I was hearing that same hopelessness, but I was hearing the actress being hopeless, not the character.
She's like, they're not paying me for this.
Like, oh my God.
I'm just their secretary. No one showed up when we had to do the VO, and they just, can you do this?
Yeah.
She's like, I can do this.
So I guess like she's either a phenomenally amazing actress,
one or the other,
or not. It's very. So enough about that. But because again, like you said, the plot of a wave shooter isn't so crucially important.
No, but I'm glad we spent the first 10 minutes of the episode on it. So what is crucially important to a wave shooter is how it plays.
Yes.
So how does it play?
Well, we've got two main options. Originally at launch, it was just Move controllers, and just within the past 2 months.
It's been a few months, yeah.
Yeah, a few months. They actually added aim support.
God, that was July. That was way more than a few months ago.
God.
Yeah, no, time flies around here. So you have aim support.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the Move controller first. The basic games, you have lefty or righty. You've got a gun in one hand, and then you have either it's your flashlight, torch, or a knife, a kukri to be specific.
Wow, that is specific.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, like it's got the curved blade.
Does it tell you this in the game? Does it say that word anywhere? Or am I just really glad that you're here?
You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't think it actually says that.
Yeah, I'm just really glad you're here.
It's a very specific type of knife used by the Nepalese special forces. Really badass, like do bad things to you. Yeah, I'm not making any of that up.
I'm thrilled that you're here.
You guys, you got me on this, right? Even in the comments. All right.
Oh, dude, everybody has something to say all the time. Of course they got you.
I know.
Of course they got you.
It's so great. So anyway, so that's your basic gameplay, and just like a lot of these, you play through, you earn points, you earn money, you can unlock other better weapons, but it is mostly just kind of that handgun. You can upgrade, you can unlock upgrades for it, so a better flashlight, because the flashlight you have in your hand, it's great and all that, but it'll eventually run out of batteries. That's actually one of my little weird kind of things with this game. You can get the flashlight upgrade for your gun, and the batteries don't run out on that.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you unlock that, this whole like scary survival horror mechanic of my flashlight's going to die, that goes away.
Except that flashlight is way more powerful than the one that attaches to your gun.
Yeah.
That's all.
But with a lot of the environments, I don't know, you can see enough of the motion where the flashlight is, unless there's something I'm missing.
All right, so wait, you dove a little bit into the controls.
Yeah, okay,
right?
we should focus on that.
On both controllers, the move button switches weapons.
Yes.
Because you get the gun, and that can switch to your secondary weapon, whether it be any kind of proximity mine or grenade or whatever you want to switch to. All unlockable throughout the game through points. And then on the other one, you're switching back and forth between the knife and the torch, the flashlight. Yeah. But then you also have like a reload button.
Yep.
And most importantly, there's a button that spins you around 180 degrees.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that.
This is usually my least favorite button in any game. Usually, like there's like a quick turn and stuff that's very helpful sometimes. But a lot of times in games, like you accidentally hit down on an analog stick, the next thing you know, you're facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
This is absolutely essential in this game. You hit a button, one of the face buttons on, I believe, the left move controller, if you're right-handed, and it, boom, immediately turns you around.
Right, because you can have enemies coming from all directions at any time at any level. Yeah. So it is really important to be able to flip back and forth very quickly, because of course we don't really have the whole room scale.
No, there's no camera behind us tracking us. So so you get about a good percentage of the way around.
Yeah.
Like I'm turning almost all the way around, and then I lose tracking like at the last second.
And that happens a lot, especially when you're first starting. It's like, oh crap! But then you hit the button, and because you're so far over to this side, you flip over to this side, not actually behind you. So
it can be very disorienting.
Yeah.
And so the whole time what I'm doing is like I'm scanning the environment, and then I flip, and then I scan the environment again because I have no idea like where I was just looking when I flipped.
Yeah. And one thing that is really great about this kind of two-hand setup, that knife is pretty badass.
It's pretty badass.
You know,
you can
so,
like decapitate guys with that.
Yeah, so I found myself a lot of times like not even looking behind me, just like shooting and just kind of flailing my arm behind me, and actually it's fairly effective.
I was gonna say that's a strategy I've never tried.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And that's something that kind of goes away if we want to talk about goes away if we use the aim controller, because the aim controller starts you off with just, you have that one weapon. And at the beginning, it isn't really particularly effective as a melee weapon either. But you don't have the option to have your other hand, you know, defending yourself. So I think that's one thing where it kind of loses. Like, I really enjoyed having this two-hand thing, and, you know, maybe sometimes even switching left and right. Because you could, like, do your distance enemies here, and I would find myself, there's one particular enemy that if you hit them once, they come charging at you fast.
Yep.
So I would turn around, trigger that guy by shooting him, deal with these guys over here, and just be ready with the knife when he comes running up to me.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And there's two things about this whole. I don't even know if we mentioned this.
Okay.
Being a wave shooter, your feet are like glued to the floor. Like, there's no movement. This is no Arizona sunshine. You do not have the ability to walk around.
Right.
There is that turnaround button, and that is it. You turn yourself, you hit the button. That is all the movement you're getting. You are stuck in one spot.
Yeah.
And two things about that. One, you're always stuck in the worst possible spot you could possibly think of on any of the levels. It's always where, like, all the hallways and all the tunnels intersect.
Right.
It's like you're standing right below a thing that can drop on you. You got 7 things coming from all directions. I'm like, can we just go step over to a corner?
Right. There's a wall right there. Can I put my back to that?
Like, if I moved 5 feet that way, this game would be so much easier.
Yeah.
So, common sense aside.
Right.
The other thing about standing in one spot and, like, enemies coming at you from all directions, play this game with a good set of headphones.
Yes.
Because if you're using your TV to figure out where those enemies are coming from, that sound is not going to be good enough.
Right.
Man, you need to know where they're coming from.
And in that vein, I mean, they do a great job of creating, you know, we talk a lot about how immersive the videos and all that, but it takes some skill to have a good immersive 3D audio as well.
Yeah.
And actually have it feel like, oh, that is behind me, back and to the right.
Yeah.
Back to
Which,
the right.
I gotta say, even with my headphones on, which have always been good before, I struggled a little bit. Like, it definitely helped me be like, okay, I know it's definitely coming from this direction somewhere, but I didn't know if it was like behind me in that direction, in front of me in that direction.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I just gotta cover this area for now.
Yeah, I was just using the earbuds that come with it, and that was fine for me.
No problems.
I could pinpoint it pretty well.
Good to know. Good to know. Maybe I'm losing my hearing.
What?
Exactly. So yeah, with the just my first recommendation, probably have a couple recommendations throughout this episode, but my first recommendation is, man, get real familiar with the controls as fast as possible, because the second things get intense, I will tell you, you're gonna start forgetting. Even though there's only a couple buttons that you need to know, you're gonna start forgetting which button turns you around. You're gonna start forgetting which button reloads your gun. You're gonna start forgetting which turns your flashlight back to a knife.
Yeah, no, and we should talk about intensity and difficulty here. There is no real learning curve. It is just like, okay, here's how things work, and now the apocalypse.
Yeah, the very first level, they just put you in that hallway. Right?
Yes, yeah.
And so, like, I feel like that's like a pretty decent, like, tutorial.
Yeah.
But man, like, they come at you so slowly that yeah, you're definitely not ready for anything that comes after it.
Yeah. And it does get, I mean, so we did kind of knock it a little bit for its lack of depth in storyline.
Yeah.
Which is true. And you could make a good case there's not a lot of depth in the gameplay itself. There aren't that many different types of enemies. And once you see them, you kind of figure out, you know, they don't really change their patterns too much. They really don't do much evasion. Like, they just they see you, they start walking at you, you shoot them, and they don't really change their behavior, with the exception of a few obvious exceptions. So there's not a lot of depth to the gameplay, but they throw so many at you, and the timing is such that it gets overwhelming real quick.
Really quick. Yeah. So that said, there are 10 stages in the campaign. And I gotta say that, like, I've played this game for countless hours, and maybe I didn't know that there was a difficulty setting.
Yeah. Oh, is there?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
crap.
like normal, hard, and apocalypse. And when I checked to see which one I was on,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely normal.
Yeah.
And it was like I was getting my
Okay.
butt kicked left and right. So like this,
It gets harder.
yeah, no, in like in the later levels are like super duper hard, even on normal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's real difficult. And man, you gotta really start exploring the store, which I guess we didn't talk about too much.
Yeah.
So the better you do on each level, they reward you with, I think it's SP. Now,
Right.
SP is your currency. And so, the more headshots, the less damage you take in a level, the more SP you get to spend in the store, because every stage I think has 4 levels.
Yes.
And so between levels, you have to, get more ammo, refill your health, maybe buy a better weapon. And all these things are super, super important.
And let's put a pin in that level thing. So if you, die in this level,
Oh, yeah.
do you get to restart from that? No, you do not. You get to start all the way from the beginning, and all that ammo you used in your progress up the chain, it doesn't like, okay, so I start at the beginning of this section of the game. Yeah, I guess we have to sections versus levels.
Well, you know what? We shouldn't be calling it level. We should be calling it stages and waves.
Yes.
Because waves is something, it's a wave shooter,
Right.
and there's 4 waves on each stage.
Right.
That's the only proper way to do this.
And but the what I was saying, so you start the stage, and let's say you have 1,000 bullets, and you spend 500 of them, and you die, and then you restart the stage. Other games would say, okay, well, you're restarting, so we're going to restart you at that 1,000. No. You restart with whatever you had left at the end.
I don't even think I noticed that.
Yeah, it's well, it's not that big of a deal unless you're messing around with some of the automatic weapons, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna just to play around with this, and then I died, of course, and restarted. And like, oh, I don't have any ammunition left for this
Now,
gun.
this is all part of the survival horror
Right.
of this, and this is a scary game.
Okay. for normal humans.
Yeah, I forgot who I was talking to for just a brief second. It's a scary game because it's super, super dark, right?
It is super dark.
Like you can see very, very little in these environments without the use of your flashlight, and so it's super easy for these things to like sneak up on you.
Yeah.
And then when they do, I turn around, I'm like, there's a guy right there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's scary. And it is about conservation of ammo and of course health. Like the point is to not die. So like it has all the aspects of a survival horror game. Just it's the theme. The theme is horror, but the point isn't survival horror.
Right. I found like one of the most annoying or frustrating enemies where there were the most basic enemy, the sort of like just human-shaped zombie who moves very, very slowly.
Yeah.
If you peg them enough times in the wrong places, they'll drop to the ground.
Yeah.
And you'll think they're dead.
Yep.
So you'll move on to the next thing.
I love this.
But they're just like slowly kind of dragging themselves along, which you don't realize. Because I'm looking out here. I'm looking for all this stuff. I'm not actually looking down at my feet until, why is everything turning red? Why am I being hit? Oh, there's this guy I shot 15 minutes ago who finally made himself up to my feet and is apparently gnawing on my ankles.
You gotta be observant, Des.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do.
This game doesn't play itself.
No. The other thing is a little weird. Did you notice any real, I don't know, the damage seemed to be a little arbitrary. Like, sometimes a monster would hit you, and it'd be like, take a little 10% knock, and sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, 50% of my life just went away.
I mean, I can only assume it depends what kind of monster. It depends. Like, is this second swing more? I don't know.
Well, I guess that's my point. Is the animations on the creatures are very kind of repetitive, and it doesn't like they'll get up to you, and you'll be taking damage, but they're just kind of standing there, not really doing much. You're just taking damage by the fact that they're next to you. So, and there's little things like that that are wonky. I mean. Hopefully, you're not letting them get that close anyway, so you never take any damage because you are perfect. But
I mean, most of them.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Except you. No, that guy.
I thought you pointed at me in the monitor. I was like, that's probably true. Definitely not perfect. Can we talk about the graphics here?
We can.
All right. Back in November.
I'll allow it.
Phosphor Games. Is Phosphorus or Phosphor?
Phosphorus.
I think it's Phosphor Games.
Okay.
It's Phosphorus.
Phosphorus little...
I don't know. I wrote down phosphorus, but I didn't actually check this. I think it's phosphor. So back in November, they announced that they were going to do a PlayStation 4 Pro patch. Like, how
okay.
perfect.
Sure.
Fantastic, because the graphics in this game are pretty damn low res.
Yeah, they are.
This game is like God, I don't even know how to say it. Like if you don't think that games need anti-aliasing, right? Or if you don't think that PlayStation VR games are really all that low res, you should definitely check this game out, because this is the poster child for games that need a little boost. These are what Generation 1 games looked like. Some of them.
If you have complaints about Skyrim,
yeah, because for the limited environments, for the fact that you can only see a specific amount, it's not like this is an open world game or that you can even move around. Like, the environments are pretty low res. They look nice, but man, they are blurry and jaggy.
Yeah, and it's weird. This is a similar situation we were talking a couple weeks ago about Crystal Rift, and where it's this controlled environment, and somehow they get this nice crisp feeling to all the animation. This is, again, this isn't Skyrim. This isn't some big open world thing. You are in a locked, closed down environment. Again, maybe I'm talking out of school. I'm not a programmer. I don't know what kind of solutions or things they had to give up in order to get the game to work a certain way, but it's pretty rough. Yeah. It's pretty rough. Yeah. I mean, I believe it's a launch title. Yeah. Yep.
No, it looks like a launch title, but again, with this patch that was promised, and I'm in contact with developers on a fairly regular basis,
right?
And so it's awesome to hear, like, every so often you hear like a little whisper of, hey, like, oh, these guys discovered a new way of doing something, right? And so, like, we're gonna like move our whole game into this different engine, or we're gonna do like work with this or work with that.
Yeah.
And it's very cool to know that, like, they're discovering ways to make PlayStation VR games look better.
Right.
I mean, it's only been like a year and a few months, and here we are. Games look way better than this.
Yes.
So that Pro patch never came out, and this is a game that desperately needs it.
Yeah.
And
although, does it?
I think so.
Okay.
So this is
next question.
So this is a story about 3 patches. That's one of them.
That's one.
Then we talked about the July
the aim patch.
Yeah. Right. Which was it came out and everyone's like, man, it's too dark. Something happened. The weapon's too dark. I can't see anything. And they immediately fixed that and they brightened things up, or they give you like little LED lights on the so you look down the sights.
Yep.
And then around Halloween, there was the Halloween patch. I think PC actually got it on Halloween. Ours was delayed a few weeks. Surprise, surprise. Thanks, Sony. And what this did was it added new weapons, it added new monsters, and it added a whole new stage. In survival mode, it's the Darkholme Mansion. And I got to say something about the Darkholme Mansion. The rest of the environments are fine, right? Okay. But they're all kind of boring. It's like, oh, the first one's here, this hallway. And next you're out and just standing in the middle of the woods or whatever, and you're standing in the middle of a field.
Yep.
And then I'm in a basement. And like, oh, I'm in a sewer. And it's just like kind of like tropey.
Right.
And boring tropey. I mean, the game's intense, but
everything's beige and black and wet.
And then they added this new stage, the Darkholme Mansion, and I mean, it's tropey as all trope.
Yeah.
But because it looks like a Resident Evil, like lobby, like you walk into a house, you're like, oh, am I playing Resident Evil? Right. And there's even, I love this. There's 2 plants on the ground. One's red and one's green, and they look just like the Resident Evil plants. It's got to be a little homage, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But man, this is the best looking, in my opinion, environment in the entire game, and it was free DLC.
So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. And also, if you played this game back when it first came out, go play it again. Like, just start at the beginning. Just start playing it over again. Because, man, I thought I remembered this game perfectly.
Yeah.
But man, there were differences, and I think it all came from this Halloween patch. I think they actually put things into the game that I didn't remember.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I don't remember there being a boss here. Wait, I don't remember there being like these enemies here. And I gotta say, like, that was nice. It was like a little refresher for somebody who bought it at launch and now has a reason to go back and play it again.
All right, so that explains something, because I didn't play it at launch. I just came into a cold, and there were some moments that seemed really incongruous. There was, a boss in an earlier level. It's like, this is nothing like anything else that has happened. It doesn't look the same. Yeah. It doesn't act the same.
Yep.
So that must be the same. It must be the same situation.
And then even on the very next level, while that woman is talking to you in your ear and like delivering stories slowly, like suddenly there's like things you have to kill, and it's like, wait, there's never been a point in this game where you have to kill things while this woman's talking, but they just kind of added those things in.
Okay.
And I appreciate that because it just gave a little more variety to the whole game.
Yeah, I will say I think that is one thing. We're coming at it from two very different perspectives. Brian had played it at launch. I didn't play it until basically about 2 weeks ago. It was the first time I sat down with it. And not only one, you saw version 1 of it, I saw version, let's say, 3. 3 or 4. Also, I've played it after more than a year of other games and other wave shooters and things like that. So
does that mean it's time to rate this thing?
Well, I guess we're probably getting close to that. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so it feels like forever since we've done this. So a refresher for everybody, mostly us. Our rating scale is number 1. Oh my God, you need to buy this. Just stop listening to what we're doing here. Go out. If you have a PSVR, this needs to be in your library. 2, meh, it's okay. If you can get it on sale, great. If you got the extra money, go ahead, pick it up. It's not going to hurt you. You might have some fun with it.
Or if this is like a genre that you just love.
Right, or this is definitely your thing.
Yeah.
And 3 is no. Do not buy this. Do not reward these people. Friends don't let friends buy crap. Yeah. We can do better. We need to show these people with their wallets. So, 1, 2, or 3? What do you think?
So, at launch, I called this a 1.
Okay.
I didn't dread doing this episode, but I was like, man, it's a wave shooter. It's an old wave shooter. I can't imagine it aged well. And whether it be because of all these patches or whatever it was, I got really, really into this game. I was like, I'll just play it for an hour and I'll be fine. That'll refresh my memory and everything. I'll be all caught up.
Yeah.
I mean, countless hours over the last couple days. Just countless. I like this game more than I did at launch, despite the fact that the graphics don't really hold up. They get the job done. This is absolutely a 1 for me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree, believe it or not. And I kind of hinted at it before. It's like, I don't think the graphics matter. I know we get in this argument. We want this frame rate and this resolution. If the gameplay is good, I don't care what the graphics are.
Yeah.
I still go back and play Super Mario Brothers. Have the graphics improved amazingly since 1985 or 86?
Yeah.
86? Yeah. No, they haven't. But the game is good. It is fun to play.
Yeah.
This is a game that if you want a shooter that's going to get your adrenaline going, this is it.
Yeah.
The specific of the fuzziness of the graphics is a little less important. You're put in a situation where you feel, this intense, these intense feelings of actually being under attack.
I mean, it doesn't hurt at all that, like, we've gotten a lot of great wave shooters.
Yeah.
And in my favorites are the ones that are dark and scary, because I like everything that's dark and scary. Keep that in mind anytime I rate anything. But I know the difference between a good dark and scary and a bad dark and scary.
Yeah.
This and Rush of Blood, man, these are my 2 favorite ways to shoot things in VR.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, I will say, I didn't get scared, but there were moments where I was really intensely just like flailing out and trying to get stuff.
Trying to remember what button to press because you're like, I haven't reloaded because I forgot which button it was.
I will say one thing that the aim has over the move is grenades.
Yeah?
Because throwing a grenade with the move controllers, there is no... I don't know. There's just no relationship between how you're moving your arm and what happens with a grenade.
Oh, really?
At least for when I could see it. Like, if you throw it really hard, sometimes it'll just go straight up, or it just won't fly as far.
That's interesting, because I felt like I had total control over those things.
Oh, all right, maybe there's something wrong with my setup then. But with the aim controller, you just kind of flick a button over, the grenade shows up, you hold the button down, you get this little power charging.
Oh, nice.
And then it just fires where you want that far.
That's cool. I played with the aim, but not extensively.
Okay.
The move controllers are definitely my favorite way to play this.
Absolutely, yeah. With the exception of the grenade, how it handles your secondary weapons, I think the aim figured that out pretty well. But yeah, the move controllers are so satisfying, especially you get that funk in the bad guy's head.
I will say that I had a very Bethesda-like moment when I was playing this today.
No.
I had one of those big hulking
boom, yeah,
boom, boom, you hear these guys from like a mile away, and you're like, where is he? Right? And it's like you could shoot 1,000 bullets at him, but grenades are the way to go.
Yeah.
So of course, as soon as you see him, take a grenade, toss it right at him, right? But one of my grenades kind of hit the ground before it got to him, and it was rolling very quickly toward him. It like took him down, like it hit him, and he like launched up into the sky, and he like came back down. The grenade went off. He died. Everything was perfect, and I got a little laugh out of it, which was nice.
Oh, I had something similar. Again, one of those big guys with a grenade. There must be some kind of bug with them, because there was one of the very slow kind of basic ones. I'm sure they all have names, but
I'm
whatever.
sure.
And it was the same thing. I threw the grenade, it hit, and there must be some kind of hitbox issue, because that big one jumped up on top of the other one's head.
Always off of the green screen.
And then jumped up on top of the smaller one's head, and then the grenade went off, and they both died.
Awesome.
But it was just like the grenade hit, and it wasn't like he was dodging. He just jumped straight up, and was on top of the other one, and then yeah. All right. So there's some little weird, and there's some bugginess, but you know what? It's a good game.
And the fact is like anytime there is a sale, this game always seems to be on sale.
Yeah.
So like if you're not willing to spend the $20, then absolutely grab it when it's like 10. But even at 20, I think you're going to get a ton of value out of this game. It's super difficult. You're going to get a ton of replay, and it's just a lot of fun.
It is. If you're, so you know what, I'm going to put an asterisk on my one. If you're not looking for a super hard game, then you do want to skip it. If you're looking for something challenging though, and not cheating challenging, just actually really tough, check this out. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week.
All right.
So make sure you let us know in the comments what you thought of Brookhaven. Did you play it after all these patches? Did you experience all the differences? Was it worth playing through again? I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
Nice. And make sure you also tell us what other games you want us to talk about. This was a viewer request, and we're more than happy to take requests.
Eventually.
We'll talk about everything, let's be honest. All right, for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
And I'm Dez.
And we'll see you next week.